Welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Africa right here on Pan African Television. We are live on Facebook at Pan African Television. We're also live on YouTube at Pan African Television. You can connect with us via our WhatsApp stroke text line on 026084 6539 026084 6539. You can as well leave your suggestions, questions, and whatnot on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter at Pan African Television. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. But this morning, we'll be going through some very critical topics here on the show. We'll be discussing those topics as well. I'll take you through, and then I introduce my guest for this morning. But I'm sitting in for my big brother, my boss, Kwame Owusu Danso. Kwame Owusu Danso is in the central region, to be precise, and he is attending the grandmother's funeral. Unfortunately, he has lost the grandmother, and today happens to be the 1 week. So he's far away in the central region for that particular, issue and all of that. And so our prayers are with our brother, Kwame Owusu Danso. Now, we are looking at these topics on the program this morning. 5 killed by gunmen in northwest Nigeria mosque attack. Daily graphic story on page 5. Judgment depth looms over termination of intelligent traffic project. The inside story on front page and continues on page 2. NDP jabs Mahama and the NDC over Rawlings's death. The new crusading guide story on page 3. And finally, Akufo-Addo is bathing in corruption, says former President John Dramani Mahama. Akufo-Addo is bathing in corruption, says former President John Dramani Mahama in the Daily Post story on page 5. I've been joined in the studio by Saka Salia. Saka Salia is a communicator for the New Patriotic Party, a member of the communications team for the New Patriotic Party. Gabi is also here. Gabriela Tete, who is also a member of the National Democratic Congress's communications team, and Soprano Sapon, a member of the CPP's communications team. Good morning to you all.
Good morning. Good morning, senor.
All right, I'll start with you, Saka, on this. 5 killed by gunmen in northwest Nigeria mosque attack.
Yeah, thank you very much, Justice. Once again, my condolences to Kwame for his loss. His loss is our loss.
Exactly.
Let me also take this opportunity to extend my greetings to the MPP fraternity. I was a central parliamentary candidate, and then the MP, and then was central parliamentary candidate, Hajia Umu, for her wonderful work that she is doing in West Central. Indeed, last 2 days ago, she launched her campaign, and it was so mammoth. It was like a knockout. I don't know how the NDC will be able to even do campaign anymore. Well,
are those numbers going to translate into votes?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it will be translated into votes. I mean, if it were boxing, I think that they would have given up. That would be a knockout. But as it is now, they are also still there, hoping that they can do something dramatic.
Don't forget that we saw a mammoth crowd in 2016 when the National Democratic Congress had, their rally at the stadium. We saw a very huge crowd. It didn't translate into votes.
Well, I mean, the rally that always went to lambast them. Anyway, today the president, the vice president, and then the Zongo Development Ministry, my brother Mustafa Hamid, they will be commissioning some projects under the Ministry of Zongo Development. That astroturfs and all that are being built for the Muslim community, and named after the chief imam. So today the president will be there, the vice president will be there, the Zongo minister will be there, the chief imam himself will be there, to receive the honor done him by the New Patriotic Party. Justice, you talk about what is happening in Nigeria.
Exactly.
5 killed by gunmen in northwest Nigeria mosque attack. I think that this is becoming a worrisome situation. We have always had this situation in Nigeria where invariably clashes between Muslims and Christians and sometimes pure hoodlums who terrorize people with reckless abandon in the name of Islam or in the name of some reason known to them. And I think that it is becoming unbecoming, it's becoming too worrisome, it's becoming one too often, and therefore something needs to be done about it. These gunmen, in most cases, metamorphosize into some names like what we've been hearing, the Boko Harams and all that. And simply, when you ask them of their mission, why they are doing some of those things, they can't even explain why they are doing those things. It's just that some of them just, have the delight to cause havoc, to inflict pain on others. And some of them, because of their inordinate desire to see the other religion suffer, they just, do what they do. Because if you ask them, gunmen, what's your reason for this attack of mosque? They will be talking about retaliation. They will be talking about some reasons that are unreasonable. And I think that they should take cue from what is happening in other countries like Ghana. Ghana has become the oasis of peace within the sub-region because of our tolerance for one another. It's not as if we are always happy with whatever the opposite religious person says. We are not. I remember when Reverend Owusu Bempa did what he did the last time, which was
prophecies against the chief imam,
which was completely out of place. He had to go to the chief imam with a cow and apologize. But I think that in Nigeria, they will not have time for any apology for anybody. By the time your apology comes, the havoc would have been done. But you see, we are human beings. People can make mistakes. But for us to take religion to the other level and inflict pain and anguish on others just because of religion. You see, sorry to say just because of religion, but the point I want to make is that religion is such that before you even change your mind to join another religion, it means that you have been convinced beyond every reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Because it's about faith. And faith, you don't see it. It's something that you believe in. Even when you are being convinced that what you believe in is a bad thing, because you have faith, you think that you are right. And therefore, everybody holds his or her religion in high esteem. And no amount of terrorism, no amount of force, no amount of gangsterism, can change what somebody believes in. You can, acquiesce or terrorize a person into accepting your religion, but that belongs to those age. The olden age, where monarchs ruled and conquers. They can go and conquer a whole society and then proclaim or pronounce a religion on them and all that. It's no longer the case. People have their own mind to choose between what is right and wrong. So if we see gunmen, happy triggered gunmen in Nigeria doing all these things, I think that it behoves on the Nigerian government to clamp down on this thing once and for all. It's becoming the norm rather than the exception. And for us, the 21st century, that should not be happening. Ghana here, whatever the case is, Gabi, Soprano, or we can offend ourselves. Even a whole church can offend a mosque. But the solution is not to go attacking and killing and maiming people. But in Nigeria, it's becoming the order of the day. It's the philosophy of the day. It's their favorite pastime to always unleash violence. And that is the reason why I'm saying that the psychic of the people have to change. The government have to force, the people to do the right thing. Forcing the people to do the right thing here means that the perpetrators of this heinous crime must face the law. And when they face the law have to be upheld. And they should ensure that the stiffest of punishment is given to such people. When that is done, it will serve as deterrent. But as is where, we don't even know what will happen. The people will go and kill with reckless abandon and still go scot-free without anything happening to them. And that emboldened other sprinters group to also come out and continue with these nefarious activities. I think that it is bad. Let's condemn it, on certain terms. Let's ensure that we as Africans do not, continue to be labeled as uncouth or people who live in shitholes and all that. We are as civilized as any civilized nation. And therefore, whatever solution, whatever problem that we have against ourselves, the solution must not be the use of gun. That is where I'll end now.
All right, thank you so much, Saka, for your submission. Gabi.
That's a very interesting angle Saka came from. This issue has to do a lot more with the Fulani herdsmen and how to control the migration of nomadic herdsmen, because it's not just a Nigeria problem, it's actually a West African problem. We have them in Agogo when they migrate down south to feed their cattle. And if you remember, it's a particular time of the year where you hear Agogo farmers clashing with Fulani herdsmen because their cattle are grazing on their farms and destroying their farms. Some of the herdsmen are resorting to armed robbery activities. Some of them are even going to the extent of even raping women. That is the issue we have at hand in northwest Nigeria as well. These herdsmen believe that for them it's the other way around, where the inhabitants are the ones attacking them and robbing them. So they also go and mobilize themselves into gangs and reprisal attacks on villages. But what I found interesting was that they had the effrontery to actually attack a mosque and kidnap the imam. Most of these Fulanis are also Muslims. So it's not really Muslim fighting Christian or the other way around. This is Muslim going after Muslim.
You are not 100% sure that those who attack the mosques are Muslims.
So allow her to make her point.
No, I'm not challenging. I'm just.
She was very quiet when you were making your submission.
Oh, justice.
But the point is, how do we deal with nomadic herdsmen? Because, as I've just mentioned, it's not just a Nigeria problem, it's actually a West African problem. In the ECOWAS protocols, I'm not very abreast with what the detailed protocols are, but I'm sure that in the protocol of free movement of persons, there must be some provision on how to address the issues of nomadic herdsmen and those other migrants whose activities allow them to cross borders. It's not just herdsmen. If you observe, there are these other Chadians who will come into Ghana to come and beg. There are these Burkinabe palm readers who sell all kinds of medicines. All of them come in and out of our country and do whatever it is that they want to do. Are local laws allowed to take action? And when it does so, who helps to defend? Because nobody is guilty unless you prove them guilty. But if the local laws take precedence of ECOWAS protocols and they get into any form of activity that is illegal and they are subjected to the judicial system of the land, are they given the same rights as having access to attorneys, a defense, and all these things? But bringing it back to Nigeria, this northwest part of Nigeria is already a den of all sorts of activities. You have Boko Harams, you have other militant groups also operating in the northwestern part and the northern part of Nigeria. If they don't find a solution on how to address the issues of nomadic herdsmen and their own illegal nefarious activities, they are going to have a case where these armed militants can also infiltrate these gangs. And engage in all kinds of acts under the guise that they are herdsmen, when in actual fact they are terrorists and militants. So it's a very dicey issue, very fluid issue, and I think that the Nigerian authorities have to be very, very careful on how they address this issue, because, as I mentioned, when it comes to the issue of these nomadic herdsmen, they cross boundaries and they cross barriers into other neighboring African countries, and so we should be mindful how we deal with them. But they also have to be subjected to the laws that are operating within their local communities where they find themselves.
All right, thank you so much, Gabi, for your submission. Viewers, you're still watching Good Morning Africa. You can keep your messages coming in on 0260846539, 0260846539. We are live on Facebook as well. You can share the Facebook post for other people to also get the opportunity to watch today's, edition of Good Morning Africa. Now I'll come to you, Soprano Sapo.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Justice. Thank you for the opportunity. And good morning to listeners across the country and the world. Hi, Gabriela. Long time no see. It's nice to see you, Saka. Yeah. That mask you're wearing is not nice. It fell down. That's just, if you allow me, I just wanted to. Over the weekend, I was in Agboba. I wanted to say good morning to the assemblyman for Agboba. Okay. They call him Eddie. His real name is me, but everybody calls him Eddie. And then also there's this gentleman called Ion. He runs a bar at Happy Home near Ekomok. And then Kojo Chum near Academic City. He also runs a bar. Okay. Chum. All right. You know about people power. Well, we went campaigning and in the bar, the ordinary people. You people like to go to Kempinski, but we don't go to the regular normal place. Justice, the issue at hand, with regards to the gunmen in northwestern Nigeria. Having the effrontery to actually go and attack a mosque. That is pretty unusual, especially when you consider it was for a robbery. And in a predominantly Muslim area. What is the world coming to? You ask yourself. You see, but I think that when you read the story in the Daily Graphic, you come away with the fact that this time, this particular story has nothing to do with Boko Haram. It's not a religious, these religious / liberation fighters. These people want to do a caliphate. Actually, but they are talking about criminal gangs. You understand? And this takes the whole conversation into a certain realm that I have been, sort of, in private conversation, harping upon with other people, Justice. To the extent that they even captured an imam. I've never heard that before. That's like going to capture a malam. It's a serious thing, And the whole point is, I think what is happening with these criminal gangs, Gabriela talked about Fulani herdsmen who cross international boundaries, just like that, at the drop of a hat. Okay, criminal gangs. And then these Boko Haram types, look at what is happening in Mali. Look at across the Sahelian region. Okay, the rise of the so-called Islamic fundamentalists. Of course, we originally placed the blame on people like President Obama and the French president. His name will come to me. He's got a corruption case hanging over his neck right now. But the point is that when Muammar Gaddafi was in position, those things were not happening because they happened. These are occurring within his sphere of interest, and he had it all, locked down. Okay, but Justice, the point I'm making is this. What I see happening is that the rise of these terroristic criminal gangs in the Sahelian regions of Africa is directly as a result of a certain colonial legacy that must be disbanded, destroyed, and swept into the dustbin of colonial history. You see, Justice, in Ghana and across Africa, governments do not encourage the right to bear arms by the people. By and large, you see, the right to bear arms is not encouraged by the governments across the continent. It harkens from a colonial era, okay, where the European colonial occupation forces, you see, people like to call them colonial masters. Just as we are trying to rewrite the history books again and call people who they are. You understand? The colonial occupation forces that were occupying a place including Ghana, using armed force, because that's how come they were here.
Yeah.
You see, so the colonial occupation forces frowned upon possession of firearms by the indigenes, obviously because they could be turned against the colonial forces. You understand? But remember that prior to the arrival of the colonists, okay, or the colonial occupation forces, or the colonial invaders, prior to the arrival of the European colonial invaders, our ancestors were owning arms in their houses. I mean, when they started resisting European colonialism, there wasn't an army, even though our ethnic groupings and tribes had armies, and the Asafo groupings structure is an example of our armed defense system. Okay, but it wasn't as if there was an armory where guns were waiting, and if there's a fight or there's a conflict, you go and you are assigned a firearm like happens in the army. People owned guns. My grandfather was a goldsmith, but he also could make guns. You understand? People made their own weapons. But then when the colonial occupation forces finally, sort of secured a footing on our land, they made sure that people holding weapons or owning weapons were either arrested or that they went to confiscate those weapons. Subsequent to colonialism, when we got independence across Africa, that mindset and that legal posture, okay, was maintained. Okay, justice, and it was maintained, for obvious reasons, because people, even let's say using the CPP government under President Kwame Nkrumah as an example, they didn't want so many arms in the system. However, what I'm saying here is that if you look at the United States of America, for instance, I can tell you that what is happening in the Sahelian region can never even begin to occur in the United States, for the simple fact that the Constitution guarantees the right to bear arms. It's one of the most important issues for United States citizens, especially the conservative Republicans. You understand? If you try to even sort of do anything about gun laws to mitigate their access to guns, you have a problem. You would pay a price, electorally speaking. You understand? But the point here I'm making is that, you see, if Africans were bearing arms, in abundance, these things wouldn't. Okay, I'll give you an example. The other day, I think a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to Kwame on a show right here, and then we were discussing arms in Ghana, and it turns out there are only 2 million small arms in the hands of Ghanaians. I was very disappointed. Now there are those who say that 2 million is too much. It is too small.
Isn't it too much?
No, Justice. Every household should have a weapon. You understand? Legally registered with the police. Look, if you have a weapon in your house, and the next door, everybody has a weapon in the neighborhood, everybody is very straight.
Is that not going to increase crime?
No. If that were the case, you see that would be you see it in the United States. That's not what is happening. You understand? Save people who might have mental issues. You understand? But in Ghana, the firearm acquisition prerequisites are more stringent than in the United States. You understand? But what I'm saying is this, Justice. Some policeman told me that, listen, the police are not security people that will be following you around, and when you are sleeping, they'll be standing outside the house. Normally, the police and the security forces, they react to a crime. So you, the parent, the man of the house, it is your responsibility to protect your wife and your daughters. You understand? If you have the habit of waiting for the police, then they will come. The police will come. Usually, after the crime has occurred, after your wife has been raped and your 15-year-old daughter has been raped, You understand? Sometimes they force you to do that to your own daughter. You understand? So under such circumstances, I don't see why any father wouldn't want to own a weapon in his house. By the way, if we increase gun ownership in the country, it creates massive job employment. You understand? Imagine if your daughter, 15-year-old daughter, knows how to use a firearm well. That is good news. You understand? Gabriela, do you know how to use a firearm? I think you should, the army can train you. If you buy a firearm, you go to the Ghana Armed Forces, they have a shooting range. In America, people own businesses where they sell guns and they have a back room. It's a long place, bulletproof. You can go and, shoot. Boom, boom, boom. People take their daughters to go and learn how to shoot. Self-defense, this is key. But the point I'm making here is that if gun ownership was rampant across Africa, Boko Haram and Co. and these criminal gangs across the Sahelian would be reduced. Because I've looked at the Boko Haram issue. What is occurring is that they surprise villagers who are not armed. So it's not so much that the Boko Haram and the criminal gangs are so well trained. No. They are gangsters, bandits. They are not so disciplined. However, most of them have AK-47 weapons. Gabriela was talking about the Fulani herdsmen. The Sahelian region where they operate from is a conflict zone. Most of them are armed when they arrive at Asante Achimagogo. So why shouldn't the farmer on the farm at Asante Achimagogo be armed legally? You understand? So what happens is when the Fulani take their cattle to destroy their farms and they shoot them, they rape their women, etc. But can you imagine if the farmer at Asante Achimagogo was also armed with an AK-47? The Fulani will not come there in the first place because they will meet the guns from way up north. I encourage legal gun ownership. I think every household should have one. You understand? Now, Justice, you see that, the one other thing here is that in this country, if the country was to also increase gun ownership, okay, or encourage gun ownership, reduce taxes on weapons, you understand, so that the guns would be in the system legally, people will own it, encourage training of secondary school people and university students in how to shoot and use arms. I mean, if you tell me people think owning weapons or guns is bad, no, go to Israel and see. Every little small boy has a gun and knows how to dismantle it and put it back together. And they are not killing each other. That's not, why would they kill each other? But when everybody knows that everybody has a weapon, you understand? And then apart from that, owning multiple weapons is also a good investment. You understand? It's a good, yes, Justice. If you go to America, people have guns that they've inherited from maybe 400 years ago. It's got antique value, very expensive. Apart from that, if you own about, let's say you have some money, you invest it in legally owned maybe 10 AK-47s. You understand? When you are broke, you can convert it at a gun shop and get higher returns. So owning guns is not a bad thing. As I've said, if you look at the historic trajectory from whence I've started my submission.
But how is that going to solve some of these issues of incessant attacks on people?
That's what I'm saying. That
because if you have a gun, if I own a gun, doesn't mean that I wouldn't be attacked.
Yeah, but the likelihood is reduced. You see, my point is the Fulani herdsmen, the criminal gangs that we are talking about in this story, the Boko Haram, all of these gangsters always attack. Have you seen them going to attack the army base? Unless it is like a specific attack, like a fight. But normally they go to vulnerable populations. You understand? Because we've spotted this village. Oh, they have a lot of nice, beautiful girls there. Okay, and I think they have about 300 cattle. Let's go and storm them because I think they have only one old-fashioned rifle. But if the villagers were all heavily armed, then the equation becomes different. So you might go and kill some of the villagers, but you also sustain casualties. You understand? And therein lies the issue of owning arms. You see, even the Bible does not frown against owning arms. If you read the Old Testament, I'm telling you that even if you were to look at it from a religious perspective,
let's be moving on to another
which Ghanaians like to do. If you read the book of Samuel and things, King Saul and King David, they had a lot of weapons. Weapons are good, legally owned. They are very, very good. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Soprano, for your submission. Now, anyway, now I'll start with you, Gabi, on this one. Akufo-Addo is bathing in corruption, says former President John Dramani Mahama. Why that statement?
My first submission, I forgot to greet our viewers, so please forgive me.
And also to send your condolence to the families of Kwame Osudan. So.
Yes. I want to say good morning to our viewers, to executives, members of the NDC in Awutu Senya West, to our parliamentary candidate, Madam Gisela Abuchi. Don't forget, December 7th, vote number 2 for John Mahama and Madam Gisela Abuchi in Awutu Senya West. And John Mahama everywhere else. Deepest condolences also to Kwame on the death of your grandmother. I wish you strength. And the Lord give it and the Lord take it. At some point you all go. So be strong, my dear. Akufo-Addo bathing in corruption. Do you need a seer to tell you that this government of President Akufo-Addo William,
until that is backed with some sort of evidence, it becomes a mere statement. What are your evidence?
This government is the most corrupt government in the Fourth Republic. Justice. You have a president who in 2016, when he was looking for the people's mandate, went to the people of Ghana, looked them in the eyes, eyeball to eyeballs, and told them, when you vote us into power, we will not come to run government to the benefit of our families and our friends. He even went to the extent of, when he heard how good that quotation sounded in his own ears, he even went to the extent of tweeting it for the whole world to now see that he is bent on giving us a new kind of governance. 1 year later, when the people gave him the mandate, he started Bosgate, 600,000 contaminated fuel deal worth over $5 million. Up to date, nobody was held accountable. It started with PDS, a program to privatize ECG, to push efficiency in ECG, a $20 billion state asset of the people of Ghana. A project which had been started by your predecessor to find $500 million injected from the Millennium Development Authority into operations of ECG. All you had to do was to find a credible private partner. Even that one was plagued with corruption, family and friends, nepotism, conflict of interest, insider dealings, to the extent that to date, Ghana ECG has not accounted for the 1.5 billion that PDS utilized for the 1 month operations that they held in ECG. To date, Ghana was expected to get a balance of additional $190 million from the Millennium Challenge Authority, Millennium Challenge Compact, Compact 2. Ghana lost that money. No serious audit, forensic audit of the dealings of the takeover of PDS on ECG. And yes, look at how much money Ghana has lost on one simple privatization project. Something we have done in this country so many times already. You have a merry deal. When you claim that the NDC came and created Dumso, you claim the NDC could not solve Dumso. Even the generators that NDC brought for Dumso, you who claim that NDC could not solve Dumso, when you were told, when you said that the Ameri deal was blown and it was packed with corruption, you went to negotiate only to come back and pack Ameri with additional $800 million. But for the Finance Committee of Parliament, that one too would have been under our eyes. You have, just this year, an investigative journalist set out on a mission to investigate a company called Talent Development Company, which is believed to be owned by the director of the former director of the Public Procurement Authority. That one entity that is responsible for ensuring that Ghana gets value for money in procurement and supplies contracts. This individual, this journalist called Manasseh Azuri, later found out that this gentleman was indeed a director of this company. When further evidence was probed between Shraj, between Iyoko, and the Special Prosecutor's Office, each of them has brought out bank statements of one individual who, at the time he went into office, had only 45,000 in his account. Up until when he was caught, had 56,000 euro plus $4,000 plus 50 million Ghana cedis. When you convert all that together and you put it together, one individual sitting in a government office responsible for procurement and ensuring value for money has himself been able to amass 45 million Ghana cedis. The amount of money that it took government of Ghana to provide COVID food over 3 weeks. Who said public services cannot be lucrative? This man has shown us that, in fact, it's even more lucrative sitting there and doing nothing than going to wake up every day 8 to 5 and riding walla to walla. Justice. We have a government under whose watch, just last week, Joy FM Multimedia did an expose on the National Lotteries Authority, a contract for terminals, those handheld devices you go to lotto operators and they use to punch your lotto number for you. Just terminals for lotto operators. Even that one too, they had to find some way of making money out of it.
The NLA has denied those allegations.
But until you go and send Iyoko and Shraj and Special Prosecutor and other service into that establishment for them to find out what really happened, they'll come and deny. The gentleman, when they asked him, does he know talent complaint, didn't he deny it? First he said he was not a director. Then next he said it was his cousin. First he said cousin. Then he changed his mind and said his in-law. Within one interview, he had changed his mouth like 3 times. If you send investigators there, they will try to come out, not what NLA says. Terminals, over-bloated, contract again.
I hope you are aware that no one is proven guilty until
the institutions are
evidences are adduced to claims that have been made.
The institutions whose job it is to follow up on those claims.
So can we add those issues
But I mentioned
to
their names.
related offenses when no competent court of jurisdiction or
nobody
has declared them engaged in any corruption?
Nobody has been able to prove John Mahama as corrupt. Yet 2016 campaign, NPP painted NDC and all appointees of President Mahama and President Mahama himself as corrupt. This one is not somebody's painting. No. These are the evidence that we have seen on TV. Media journalists have gone to follow. People have followed up. This same NLA, 2017-2018 Christmas, they were the same people who were found out that the man had given some contract for rice supplies, Christmas rice and chicken. He had given it to his sister, which was also another overbloated contract.
Family and friends.
Family and friends. Look at Data Bank and the finance minister. There's supposed to be a legislative instrument that supervises appointees and their business dealings in government. There's a whole document which explains what conflict of interest is for public service holders. But yet, we have a finance minister whose company he founded is into every single bond issued by this government. This 1 year that we've been under COVID, all these COVID reliefs, I just found out that the money, it wasn't just the extended credit facility, what was that one we call the COVID relief from the IMF. The rapid, that wasn't the only money we took for COVID though. Apparently, we've been issuing so many bonds to pay for business loans, which we all thought had come from World Bank. We're taking bonds to pay for electricity and water bills. When Ghana Statistical Service has already told us that 6 out of 10 households are not benefiting from free water, 7 out of 10 households are not benefiting from free electricity, 50% electricity. You have a government that came claiming that they are going to fight Galamsey. In fact, the president himself again in 2016 put his own presidency on the line that he will fight Galamsey, even if it cost him his presidency. Yet last year, early this year, we had Minister of State on tape. We had party appointees, all of them claiming, say party ni hiesika, into somewhere Galamsey nibi. Today, go and look at the state of River Pra. You went to River Pra with the NDC team,
exactly,
didn't you?
Yeah.
So you saw River Pra.
I saw it.
A river that runs through 4 regions, 44 districts depend on this source of water. People's livelihoods for fishing depends on this water. For irrigation for their farms depends on this water. And yet, see what Galamsey has done to River Pra. Today, Western region has to go through water rationing, and it costs the Ghana Water Company 3 times more to purify River Pra for distribution to Western region. Today, the fisher folks who live along the banks of River Pra have lost their livelihoods because that river is now contaminated and it is thick with mud. You can't wash with it. The worst part is the presence of cyanide and mercury. Mercury does not dissolve. So those farmlands with mercury, because of the water contamination, if those plants take up any water with that mercury, it's going to go into those plants. Anybody who eats the fruit of those plants are going to have mercury contamination. Same with cyanide. So when to even say that Akufo-Addo is swimming in corruption, it is an understatement. He is sinking in it, not swimming. He's not floating on top. They are deep diving. That's where the fun and the thrill is. When you go and you see all the natural things God has created under the sea, that's when you know that deep diving. That's where the adrenaline is. That is where Akufo-Addo has reached. If he forgets that it was his face that came to beg the people of Ghana for the votes.
So you mean that the president is deep diving?
He is deep inside. He is very much aware. How can you give 20 billion state assets to a company and not know that the documents that they presented to you are false? How can you not know that you've just signed a deal for power plant with 800 million stacked into it, and when you are asked, you say you are misled? poor Ejako, whoever he is, I greet him this morning. In this country, last year, this year, first we heard of his wife taking money from GNPC for her foundation. And then we had the daughters also now taking monies from Ghana Commercial Bank, which at the time was headed by their uncle, also to go and do project. If under President Mahama you had heard that Madam Lodi Mahama had gone to any state enterprise to even go and collect souvenirs, hell would have broken loose in this country. But for President Akufo-Addo and everything else going on around him, he and his appointees, they will tell you that as for the man, he is not corrupt.
But the GNPC issue, GNPC as part of its corporate social responsibility, I mean, engaged in that exercise. How is that related to corruption?
That is conflict of interest. You see, if we were to, that is why we have the legislative instrument that streamlines what is conflict of interest for public office holders, what is allowed and what is not allowed. If you study the more advanced democracies, and every day we are trying to aim to become better at our democracy. The US Senate, day in, day out, they are summoning people before them to account for monies because of issues of conflict of interest, and that they are benefiting from. When they find out that what they've received or what they've done is illegal, they are made to refund the monies back to the state. There are systems that are created to make sure that we genuinely fight corruption. In this administration, everybody who has attempted to fight corruption has himself been kicked out. Take poor Mr. Domelevo. In fact, the man was doing such a fantastic job at the Ghana Audit Service.
But Gabi, isn't it fair for us to have been asking ourselves these questions? For instance, the examples of the president's daughters and that of the wife. Let's ask ourselves, were the monies used for the appropriate projects that they were supposed to be used for? Were the monies given appropriately? If the monies were given to them appropriately and the monies were used for the projects, why then do we have to talk about conflict of interest and corruption issues in here?
That's why I said that in more advanced democracies, and even within our own setup, we already have rules and regulations on what constitutes conflict of interest and what constitutes corruption for office holders and people who are close to office holders. Look, if for someone like me who has been in office before, today if I want to go and open a bank account, they are going to ask me for all kinds of documentation which perhaps Soprano going to open a bank account they will not require of him, because he hasn't had the benefit. He hasn't had the benefit of going to sit. He hasn't had the benefit of going to sit in government before. My family members, when they are going to create accounts, because I am a politically exposed person, are also going to be subjected to the same when they find out that you are related to so and so. Look, my sister had a job, and my third sister got a job in a hotel. Hers was so bad that when they were creating the account for the new staff, her salary was delayed because the bank came back to inform her that they found out that she's related to two people who served in the NDC government. So she should go back and bring, and they asked her to bring new further details before they open their account for her. Because it is believed that when you come into government, there are avenues where office holders can siphon money, and sometimes the first place of call of trust is to push you to family members. So there are already systems put in place to make sure that these things don't happen. The same systems have to exist in the governance structure that has to cross-check what is the president's relatives also up to. You see, but if you can bring it to the level of my poor sister who has nothing to do with politics having to go through this, then why should the presidency, the person who occupies the most powerful seats of the land family, just do anything that they want? There's legislation to stop it, and it exists. Once I was landing, according to the CDD, under this administration, Ghana loses 9.6 billion per year to corruption. That is monies that can do 10 Kotoka International Airport, Terminal 3, plus cargo section. That is monies that can do 5 port expansion projects, MPS T3 at Temahabo. That is monies that can do almost every feeder road that has gone bad in this country, at least to tie it. So the fight against corruption is not lip service. It is only fought when institutions are allowed to work.
Okay.
When people like Mr. Domolevo will not be frustrated and maneuvered and kicked out under the guise of proceed on leave. When people like Mr. Martin Amidu will not be frustrated for them to leave their jobs because they come to the realization that the people who said they were going to fight corruption can themselves not fight corruption, not in this government, and most definitely not in the next Nagofado government. Because if today Krano, in the beginning, any say, then imagine what 4 more years will do for this country. By that time, he will sell, he will even come and sell with the people in addition.
All right, thank you so much, Gabi, for your submission. Now, I'll come to you, Soprano. Do you also believe in the assertion that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is battling in corruption, as said by former President John Dramani Mahama? If you think so, what are your reasons?
My first reaction. My first reaction was to laugh. You know, my first reaction was to laugh. You know, hilarious, loudly, very, very loudly.
Why were you laughing?
Oh, the statement is very funny. I mean, don't you think it's funny? They say what? Akufo-Addo is baffing. I want to say it in normal Ghanaian English, so everybody will. Akufo-Addo is baffing in corruption. And I couldn't help laughing. It is very sad, you know. You see, Justice, me, when I grow up, one day I'd like to be like President Akufo-Addo. Okay, he's my mentor. I like the way he is. I like the way he speaks. I like his mannerisms, you know, and I admire his vision for Ghana. Okay. But unfortunately, and I don't think President Akufo-Addo is corrupt, but I think the system he's operating in, the New Patriotic Party. Was President Mahama corrupt? Let me land on this trajectory and I'll address the President Mahama issue. You see, I don't think President Akufo-Addo is corrupt, but I think he's encumbraned by a certain situation that is beyond him, the president, to the extent that he's more like drowning in corruption. Not that he is corrupt, but he's falling into, or he's surrounded by some deep waters of corruption, okay, which are still but run deep. And so I think maybe the statement is not clear. It's not clear. Oh, you know they say still waters run deep. Are you afraid to say that? Oh, no. I'm telling you, I'm not afraid of anything. You know, I'm just telling you that I don't think the president is corrupt. Those are my words. But I appreciate the fact that the president might be gasping for breath, corruptionally speaking, if you would permit. You see, he might be gasping for breath. Ghanaians should help the president. Now, wait a minute. Let's look at the context in which the former president made the statement. He talked yesterday. I listened to him. He talked about the fact that, look, when he was in government, I mean, what didn't we hear in this country pertaining to corruption? Sure. And that he was castigated, he was lambasted, he was accused of having been corrupt and all of that. And on the back of that, people campaigned against him to be voted for, and that when they come, corruption is going to be a thing of the past. Precisely. Unfortunately, today, the president himself is baffling in corruption. As they say. I'm saying, so that's the more reason why I asked you my earlier question. Is President Mahama corrupt, or was he corrupt when he was in government? Well, Justice, I really appreciate the second part of your question. You understand? Is President Mahama corrupt? I don't think so. You see, Justice, I've had occasion to, stress that I do not believe that our presidents are corrupt. You understand? I mean, take a look at both gentlemen under discussion, and you realize that these are accomplished people. Okay, people who didn't need to even be president. It's not as if being president pays you a lot of money.
What are you looking for in the book?
Sure. Yes. You see, I'm answering your question about President Mahama. So, President Mahama is not corrupt. Why would he be corrupt? He's the president of Ghana. He has access. He's the commander-in-chief. He can fly the jet, the national or the jet anytime. He can actually mint new money, create new Ghana money, like President Akufo-Addo did with the 100 cedis and 200 cedis bourgeoisie money. You see, so I don't see, and then people give the president stuff all the time.
Okay.
With respect, even small chiefs are giving gifts. President Akufo-Addo, everybody who's going to see him wants to go and bless him some more. So I don't think President Akufo-Addo or President Mahama is corrupt. It is just that the systems that they operate are, appear to drown them in corruption, and that's why they might appear to be gasping for breath. As Nana Akufo-Addo is clearly gasping for breath in this sea of corruption that he is wallowing in. Not that he is corrupt, he just happens to be in a sea of corruption. But you see, Justice, I don't like to compare the NDC and the MPP. You see, it minimizes the conversation. You understand? And that is not just my opinion. Even President Mahama agrees with me. When he said that any comparison, President Mahama speaking, he says any comparison between the records of the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress is an exercise in mediocrity. So normally I don't like to go down so low. So with regards to the MPP NDC comparison, it's a waste of time. Ghanaians can do better. I know I can do better. And my guide is the statement made by the first president of Ghana. You understand? He said, and you're asking me, what was I looking for in his book? And I'm looking for the solution to this madness of corruption that has engulfed the populace of this country, in which this corruption, in which the president of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, is drowning. And he needs help. I've been praying for the president, Justice. He needs help. Indeed, I'm sometimes asking myself, why is President Mahama also seeking to come back and jump into this deep pool of corruption that he is also surrounded by? You understand? Because President Mahama barely 4 years ago escaped with his political life, so to speak, from the sea of corruption in which he was dwelling in as a president leading the NDC when they were in government. But we in the glorious CPP, we are guided by these words, and I'll read it. It's just 4 lines. Just as we in the CPP, we are guided by these words uttered by President Kwame Nkrumah. President Kwame Nkrumah speaking, he says, Ghana needs a new type of citizen. This is President Kwame Nkrumah speaking. He says, Ghana needs a new type of citizen, a modest, dedicated, committed, and honest, informed man. A man who abhors greed and detests vanity. A new type of man whose humility is his strength and integrity his greatness. Justice, I think the people of Ghana deserve to hear this, me repeat this one more time, especially considering that we are so engulfed in corruption to the extent that the president of Ghana, in my opinion, is drowning in corruption. Either we save President Akufo-Addo from the corruption surrounding him, or we find him underwater equipment so he can breathe. I mean, like a scuba, so that he can scuba dive, you understand, and go underwater.
If you say that the president is drowning in corruption, the buck stops with the president. If there's somebody around him who has engaged in one corruption-related activity or the other, he should sack the person and be free. And so, if you're unable to do so, aren't you going to be added to, persons who are perpetrating such crimes?
Justice, on December 7th, personally, I'm having a meeting with President Akufo-Addo in the ballot box. Inside the ballot box. So I'm not going to waste time and cry and no. It's less than 2 weeks away. President Akufo-Addo, he has no choice. He has to keep that appointment. He can't run away. And in the ballot box, me versus President Akufo-Addo, you need to bring a camera there. It's going to be bloody. So you see, President Akufo-Addo, he can act or he can meet me in the ballot box. It's a two. Either he takes action, or he will see me inside the ballot box where I will be merciless. Let me read President Kwame Nkrumah one more time and I'll end. Okay. President Kwame Nkrumah says, Ghana needs a new type of citizen. A modest, dedicated, committed, and honest, informed man. A man who abhors greed and detests vanity. A new type of man whose humility is his strength and integrity, his greatness. So my fellow Ghanaians, you see, when you listen to this, you know that the ball is in your court, and that on December 7th, President Akufo-Addo has an appointment with all of us, and we are eagerly awaiting him. We will give him a judgment. Thank you very much, Justice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Soprano, for your submission. Now let me go to Saka Salia. Saka, President Akufo-Addo has been accused of bathing in corruption. The two other panel, one said he's diving deep in corruption. The other says he's drowning in corruption. You are a government spokesperson on the program. Defend yourself.
Yeah, but first of all, who accused Nana-Addo of?
Former President John Dramani Mahama.
John Dramani Mahama. Yeah, that's the kettle calling the pot black. Are
they all black?
Well, I mean, well,
blacker than the
well, we I think that is not apt. Nana-Addo, all of us know that these are two contrasting individuals. We have Nana-Addo, we have John Dramani Mahama. On the 7th of December, we have two choices to make. The choice of incorruptibility and the choice of corruption. You see, I can understand the reason why John Dramani Mahama will want to label Nana-Addo as being corrupt. I'm not going to go into the Subes, the Gides, the Bas Brandons, the Sotofun, the Wyomis, and what have you. I'm going to talk about exactly what John Dramani Mahama in person did that became the news in this country. And to the extent that he, as John Dramani Mahama, cannot run away from being corrupt. So it is not in the mouth of John Dramani Mahama to call Nana-Addo corrupt, and he wants Ghanaians to just accept it, as he wants us to believe that Ghanaians are gullible. No. First of all, apart from what his public officers did, to the extent that the NDC itself now has a franchise for corruption, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go directly what John Dramani Mahama as president and vice president did that gave him the real corrupt individual or corrupt president that Ghana ever had. First of all, even as vice president, John Dramani Mahama was so corrupt to the extent that his president, Professor Mills, had to constitute a committee to probe him on the corrupt act that he was, engaged in.
When was that?
That was on the embryo Brazil bus.
Why didn't you take it up when
when they were talking? You were here. You were not.
I asked all
the asking questions.
I asked Saka, you don't. Let me state it accurately. You don't tell me what to do on the show. I ask you questions when it becomes relevant. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm saying, because when you were saying Nana-Addo is swimming in corruption and all those things.
I asked her questions. I asked him questions.
No, she said, and you were even saying Westerns. So you
voluntarily.
Oh, please. If I can understand that we are 2 weeks away from voting, and therefore political opponents want to say anything to muddy the waters.
Okay.
But you see, when in doing so, you should be very honest with the facts. The facts do not speak, to what John Dramani Mahama wants us to believe. I'm saying in the history of this country, John Dramani Mahama is the only president, not even the first, the only president whose vice president, whose superior president actually constituted a committee. The committee was led by who? They were led by William Amwa, who was the then interior minister.
What was the outcome of the
I'm coming, I will tell you. William Amwa was the interior minister then.
Okay.
And he was being supported by Brigadier Aloti, retired.
Okay.
And George Amwa. These were the three individuals that Professor Mills actually commissioned to investigate John Dramani Mahama for his sordid acts whilst in office. The committee, even before the committee will start its work to probe John Dramani Mahama properly, unfortunately on the part of John Dramani Mahama, but unfortunately on the part of Ghanaians, you know, Professor Mills had his demise. So John Dramani Mahama, he a sigh of relief. And immediately after assumption of power as a president, he,
no committee has implicated the former president.
I'm only telling you what happened. Decipher. You also just use your mind. I am saying the prof.
I'll analyze the issue based on the evidence available.
Please, why are you doing this?
No, if you tell
I'm giving you something.
You ask me to use my mind.
Yeah, use your mind.
Then we are also, you know, we should do our viewers in some good. You are saying that a committee was
so why didn't the Dramani Mahama allow the committee to continue as the professor wanted? Why did he actually dissolve the committee?
Did he dissolve it?
Yeah, he dissolved it because the committee never worked.
Did the committee or any member say?
I am saying the committee never got to do its work because the person that actually constituted the committee. Oh, please, let me talk. Oh, when you were talking, I see I kept quiet too. When you were talking,
can you allow Saka?
You see, this is what you people have been doing.
Can you allow? No,
when you were talking,
Gabby, can you allow Saka to?
You see, when you were talking,
continue.
I kept quiet for you to talk.
Saka, continue.
Because I know that when it comes to corruption, because I know when it comes to corruption, you have nowhere to run to. So you brought yourself. So I'm saying this is just a first point, and you are feeling agitated.
Go ahead.
So, I'm saying the first point is that even Professor Mills of beloved memory actually does not support John Dramani Mahama and knows that John Dramani Mahama is a corrupt individual. That is number one.
Okay. Number
two, we are in this country when John Mahama went and took Ford expedition. Have you ever heard Nanado? Have you ever heard that Nanado has gone to take Ford expedition before in your life? Oh, please. I mean, this is public knowledge. It's not as if it's a figment of my imagination. Oh, you were here talking about PBS and unverifiable allegations that you people, throw out there. I'm giving you what has been proven. What is in the public domain, not just what is in the public domain, what has even gone through Stratch and the ruling and all that. So you wait and
what is Stratch?
Oh, please, you wait. I am saying we were in this country when John Dramani Mahama himself accepted the fact that he took Ford expedition.
That's a fact.
Please let me go.
Expedition. You can't.
I'm not. See, why are you interjecting unnecessarily?
I'm not.
Just sit down and listen.
I'm not interjecting.
I am saying. So I will repeat I will repeat it, even though you feel uncomfortable.
No, everybody knows. So it's not news.
Everybody knows that he took Ford expedition.
There was an issue of Ford.
So let me rehash it for people to now understand.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
I'm saying that in the history of this country, this is the first time a certain president then actually went and took Ford expedition
as a gift.
Let me finish my own sentence. Went into Ford expedition, and the matter even went through Stratch. He accepted that he took it, and when he was caught, he said, "Oh, but when I came and then I used it, finish. I dumped it at the Flagstaff house."
Did he say that?
Is that what he said? Oh, what did he say?
He didn't even know that vehicle was there. It was when Manasseh did the expose on the Ford vehicle.
He didn't know that the vehicle was there.
Then they asked,
he didn't know the vehicle was there.
And they said the vehicle was in the
truth. So that is one. And they even planned to give them another non-bomb Hamlin route. But if not that MPP government assumed power, they were going to give that road to to Jibril Kanazua just because Jibril Kanazua had given John Dramani Mahama for the expedition. Indeed, when Manasseh Aziru did the expose, and he called Batidam, who was then the advisor at the government, presidential advisor on governance at the Flagstar House, and asked him that if there is a president who will take for the expedition and do A, B, C, D, do you think it is good? He said that no president worth of salt would do such thing. He never knew that it was John Dramani Mahama who was going to take the fourth expedition. And when he realized it was John Dramani Mahama, he bowed his head in shame. What? May his soul rest in peace. Indeed, when the matter went to Shraj, and Shraj investigated the matter, Shraj said that he indicted John Dramani Mahama that John Dramani Mahama had not even followed his own code of conduct that he gave to his public officers. Because if you give your code of conduct to your public officers and you yourself unable to follow through those code of conduct, it means that you are not a president that is worth voting for. That was it. The Amajaro case, when this a company was banned because the company had flouted so many things and had gone into the cocoa sector to do so many bad things, they came to John Dramani Mahama and he decided to side with the company and allow the company to continue to do bad things. Okay. That is that. We are here when internationally John Dramani Mahama disparaged the good image that Ghana has by becoming government official one. Government official one is not just taken in vacuum. It is because he as the elected government official, as has been described by the SFO in UK, actually allowed or commissioned his brother Samuel Mahama to go and take $5 million bribe from Airbus and gave it to John Dramani Mahama as government official one. And this has Airbus itself had come to confess that this is what happened. Airbus. Yes, please. Are you sure, Saka? Yeah, I'm sure of what I'm saying. Am I not sure what?
Airbus came to say that when?
I'm saying that at the SFO and even the US, where the matter was investigated, Airbus actually confessed that they had paid certain monies, and they had paid money through intermediaries, and the $5 million were paid through someone.
But Airbus did not mention John Mahama.
I am saying through intermediary, and then they use coded names.
But how are you
and John Dramani Mahama is the government official. Indeed, Matanamidu.
Okay.
In his Ajapa report, actually mentioned that the government official one is John Dramani Mahama.
I'm glad.
And the response from John Dramani Mahama was that Matanamidu was being a coward and very stupid. That is unbecoming of somebody who wants us to vote him on the 7th of December.
Okay.
So for him, he has shown beyond every reasonable doubt that Ghanaians did not make a mistake in 2016.
Yeah.
When they booted him out of office.
Don't you think that on the back of that was why Ghanaians voted him out? And
so he should remain there.
So Ghanaians would have,
he should remain out.
Wait a minute, let me finish with my question.
Okay,
so
you make your point.
So Ghanaians would have thought that the New Patriotic Party is going to be a saint. They would not engage in any corruption-related activity. In the same Matanamidu's report that you are talking about, Matanamidu, of course, talked about the fact that the president wanted him to shield certain people who have been engaged in one, corruption-related activity or the other. Somebody shielding such persons as compared to somebody you have mentioned all this about. Are they not the same?
I'm coming. I'll tackle that. But let me finish on the Dramani Mahama Corrupt Act.
Okay, go ahead.
Indeed. I mean, you remember the Nyinanyini bauxite that he when he had lost election, and everybody knows that he has lost election and he was the government, in exit. He decided that within that period of transition, he was going to give the Ghana bauxite worth over 2 billion. 80% of all our bauxite resources to his brother, Ibrahim Mahama. And we're not just saying it because we feel like saying it. This matter went through courts. Not just any court, but the apex court of this land. The court ruled that it was wrong for John Dramani Mahama to have done that, and that act was so bad to the extent that they had to reverse it.
Okay.
And as we are speaking today, that bauxite has been taken away from John Dramani Mahama and his brother, and has been given to Ghanaians. What is more corrupt than that?
Okay.
For that same person to turn around and say, oh no, now right now I am a changed person. Vote for me. When I come, I will come and do all the corrections, all the bad things that I've done. We have seen you. We know what he can do. We know what he is capable of doing. He is capable of ransacking and pillaging.
Answer my question. What's the difference between somebody who shielded corrupt officials and
let me tell
somebody
you,
mentioned,
let me tell you,
also supervising about corruption related.
Yeah, I'm coming because you were talking about whether or not Nanado or Nanado government would have been a saint. Coming, on the back of the fact that John Dramani Mahama government was so corrupt.
You vigorously campaigned on corruption.
I'm saying based on this,
you recall that.
You listen, based on this, the NDC came to the realization that there is no way that they can defeat Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo if they do not muddy the waters and let Nana Addo also look like John Dramani Mahama. And that is the reason why every now and then they will come out with PDS. Let me even take it one by one. All the allegations. They talk of PDS. Indeed, you don't
have enough time.
Oh, so but at least she talked around.
You have spoken more than everybody.
She talked around until she herself became tired.
You have spoken more
than rest.
You have spoken more than any other.
Listen. So let me take all the allegations one after the other. If time can permit.
Okay, very well.
Number one, they talk of PDS. PDS, we all know something went wrong. And what went wrong? It's because we ourselves had to come out with a solution. There was this a PDS issue about the guarantee. The guarantee had to go because at that particular point in time, there are certain things that were varied within the contract. But the government itself, because of the double due diligence that we did, discovered that this PDS, the guarantee actually was acquired through fraudulent means, because Al-Quds actually, denounced the person that actually signed the contract. And this expose did not come from the NDC, that didn't come from any civil society organization. It came from government itself. We ourselves, listen, if it were so corrupt and we wanted to shield wrongdoing, we could have just, secretly, corrected the matter. And that is even the reason why, listen. That is even the reason why. That is even the reason why we had a problem with the United States government, because the United States government, you remember when it happened, we had to take a delegation to New York to meet with the United States government. The United States government says that the problem can be solved. Let's give them the opportunity to give another guarantee.
Step down from it. Don't have.
I'll finish. To give another, but Nana Addo said no, because fraud vitiates everything. And once they committed fraud, we have the opportunity to abrogate the whole thing. So this is a president that was actually acting on behalf of Ghana. And this people say that, the PDS was family and friends. But the president was acting against PDS, even to the extent that we had to lose 190 million because the president has taken a very principled stand. Another one, they said Ajako, when he came, he tried to bribe one or two people in parliament. The matter went through parliament. It went through live television interrogation. It was found out that all the things that they were saying were lies, were complete lies, and they did not have basis. They were made to apologize. They talk about cash receipt. Cash receipt, fortunately, also went through live television investigation and interrogation. It was found out that all the things that they said were lies, were figment of their own imagination.
What about the Ajapa
and it was thrown away. Ajapa, indeed, is not what Matanamido did. Was not a report coming or a decision of court. It is just to hazard a potential what do you call it, corrupt act. And indeed, that is even our point of departure from Martin Amido. We are saying that if you are given an advisory report, that report is just an advice. Try to get the two sides. The person of which the report has been written so voluminously, you should ask the person questions. Let the person give a side of the issue, so that, I mean, natural justice should have a place here. He decided to just gather papers and at the end bring the report. And we are saying that was not a good enough.
He gathered papers?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, people gather
paper and gather another paper.
Believe in what he wrote about the former president without giving the former president fair hearing. But you wouldn't want Ghanaians to believe that what he wrote about
don't do any equalization.
I am saying equalization. I'm asking.
But he said that former president
in one breath, you glorify
the come with his lawyers.
In one breath, you glorify the report. In the other breath, you are rubbishing the report.
I don't get your point.
On what basis did the finance minister? Because what
the finance minister do?
Wait a minute. The ex-special prosecutor alleged that the finance minister came to his house when he was writing the report. On what basis did he go there?
Didn't the finance minister didn't the special prosecutor told us that the finance minister is his friend? Didn't he told us that? He said he was his friend even before we became even the finance minister.
Why the president could ask that?
Oh, we are giving you answer. Now we are jumping to another.
Why did president
when you bring a point, let's finish it.
In his letter to the public, he talked about the fact that the president, through his the chief of staff, asked him to wait until Martin Amido met the president before he took any action with regards to the.
What action was he going to take?
Why would the president?
What action is Martin Amido going to take?
Instruct the special prosecutor to do that when his office is very independent.
You see, one thing you don't even know is that office is not completely independent. But what you should also know is that even before the office came into being, do you know that based on Article 88, the Attorney General had to cede powers to the office. And I'm saying that we have, if you look at Article 58, we have an executive president. There are certain things that the president can do. And that is the reason why Martin Amido himself, recognizing that, when he wrote the report, the report of which, to me, I mean, it's nothing. That report is nothing. It's not a report of court of law. It is not a report of a commission. It's just a report to say that, wait a minute, there can be a problem here, so take care of it. Listen. Listen. It is not a report.
Are you rubbishing the office? Are you rubbishing the office of the special prosecutor? Why did you establish that?
You see, listen. Please.
The office is
It is.
Do you know the reason why I termed the report as just an advice? Because if you look at advice, it's an advice report.
To the atmosphere or
to the president. You see, the special prosecutor himself said that report is to guide the president in the future dealings.
No.
Listen.
Of what he was going to do next.
And he says that, and he himself,
in his statement, that was what he said when he gave him the report.
That report can be. You see, why are you people like that? You see, that report, one can take the report and throw it away.
Okay, so you've thrown it away.
Oh, listen.
Government has.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Don't let me describe all the things that you.
No, don't describe me, because you are saying that one can throw the report away.
Yeah, because
have you thrown it away?
Oh, listen. I'm making a point. I'm saying that it is an advisory report. If somebody it's not my opinion. If somebody give you an advice, you can take it or throw it away. But Martin Amido can say that, okay, on the basis of the fact that you have thrown the report away and have gone ahead to commit corrupt acts, I'm investigating you.
But Martin Amido in his letter was not advising the president.
It was an advice.
He wasn't advising the
president. The report is an advice.
In fact, according to Mr. Amedu, he submitted the report, a copy of the report to the president because he gave him direct.
Oh, listen. You don't even know the
because he was about to take the necessary action.
He cannot. He cannot take.
He was about to investigate. Persons.
Now about to investigate. So that report is not an investigation. So that report is an advice to prevent corruption. So that he is now. Are you
the only person who read the report?
Yes, I'm the only person.
I think you are confused.
I'm the only person. You see, I'm the only person. That is, if you don't understand what the report meant.
It looks as
and that is the reason why. And that is the reason why Martin Amidu wanted Ghanaians to take the report serious, and he says that his report is like the IGP report.
What informed the special prosecutor to resign?
You now decided to turn this whole thing into.
I haven't turned it. We are talking about
the special prosecutor decided to resign.
The president of buffing.
According to he himself, he mentioned some number of reasons. He said interference. To me, it's a matter of déjà vu, because when he wanted to even beat Professor Mills those days, he said that it was because of interference. Once again, he said it was because of interference. So we have proven beyond every reasonable doubt that there was no interference.
You have not.
Secondly, he said that he had no.
Went to his house
and I'm telling you, if you are my friend, can't I go to your house? Because he said that Kenneth Oforiatta is his friend. And friends can visit themselves.
He came there on a friendly note. He didn't say that.
No, I don't even know anything about the visitation. But I'm saying that even if he visited him,
let's go
because Martin Amidu himself has said that Kenneth Oforiatta is his bosom friend. Okay. So can't your bosom friend visit you in your house? Okay. So what's the point?
He was investigating him. He was writing a report.
So I'm saying, number one, I'm saying that after that report, I don't want to even give the report so any importance. For anybody to say that, it's not an important report to you. For anybody to say that, based on that, and he even talked about. You see, we have decided not to talk about Martin Amidu matter, but John Mahama has made some, statements that are no facts, that are nothing factual about it, and I want to disabuse the minds of Ghanaians and let Ghanaians know that indeed, if you are talking about somebody who is corrupt, then you can't bypass John Dramani Mahama when it comes to corruption.
All right.
And to have attributed corrupt acts to Nana Addo without any basis, because as of now, he cannot even give one act.
He used the Ajapa and PDS as
what corruption has been commissioned by Ajapa Day, because the Ajapa Day has not even taken off yet, and then somebody somewhere will go and sit and say that Nanado is corrupt. It corrupt in what way?
The Ajapa has not taken off.
It has not taken off. It has not.
But it has.
What about the PDS?
It has not.
What about the PDF and PPA?
And I'm saying that the PPA boss, what happened? Nanado has taken action. First of all, even before the investigation. Oh, please. Why are you doing this? Anyway, let me end. Even before the investigation. Even before the investigation went to Shraj, Nanado had suspended and when the matter came through from Shraj, he sacked him.
Okay.
And not just that, but Nanado also reported the matter to the special prosecutor, and the special prosecutor once again is here to bring. It's
the one that has resigned.
But they might.
Anyway, thank you so much. Now let me read some of my messages. I have.
So if the president can do all these things, why do you blame him?
But
for what?
Former President John Dramani Mahama equally prosecuted his own. Abuga Pele is saying.
Abuga Pele was prosecuted during the period of John Dramani Mahama.
Yes.
But the conviction actually happened during the period of NPP.
He prosecuted his own. You cannot run away from that fact.
If the NPP had not come to power, Abuga Pele would have been exonerated.
How do you know?
Because they were going to lose.
Let me read some of my messages. Justice, good morning. I've ever seen a government so corrupt like this Nanado government. Justice, always be patient with the NPP because they hate it when you are truthful in asking questions. The country is bleeding. Muftal from Kumasi, thank you so much for your message. This one says, good morning. Is the NPP man okay? He should stop politics or politicizing issues of corruption. All right, thank you so much for your message.
You should tell that to John Dramani Mama.
Good morning, Mr. Host. I want the MPP man to tell us as to whether he is aware of the fact that the then candidate Akufo-Addo, are you denying that you are an MPP man?
No, but
Akufo-Addo said he wasn't going to borrow to run this country. Ask him if he knows that the president said we were sitting on money and at the time very hungry. Louis from Jema, Kintapo South in Bono East region. This one says, good morning, Justice, and to your panelists. Justice, the MPP and President Akufo-Addo will continue to swim in corruption till we Ghanaians change them come December 7, 2020. And tell Saka, we Ghanaians believe that President Adanko Akufo-Addo and his MPP government are corrupt. Good morning. Good morning to you too. Good morning to you and to your panel. Saka Salia, why are you doing this to yourself? You keep stammering, contradicting, and disgracing your party and yourself. December 7 will rescue us. YBR Rauf in Bupe sent in that one. Good morning, Justice. Please kindly tell Saka to give his beautiful advice to President Akufo-Addo and the MPP instead of the government of Nigeria. Please, Saka, has President Akufo-Addo ever punished his, corrupt officials? Please tell Saka to stop lying because no good Muslim will lie the way he and Dr. Bawumia does. Big shame on all liars like Saka. Malam sent in that one. Hello, Mr. Host. Kindly tell Saka that he cannot throw dust in our eyes. His government is on record to be the most corrupt in the history of this country. Indeed, President Adanko Akufo-Addo is bathing in corruption. G from Somanya sent in that one. Hardy in Pig Farm says Saka should eschew his arrogance and humble himself. If he cannot call His Excellency JDM a former president, he could call him Mr. Mahama. No wonder we the people from the north are our own enemies. Mr. Ibrahim Mahama is blessed, and no amount of hatred by Saka and his corrupt party will bring him down. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, please, Jay, tell Saka to stop lying. Okay, thank you so much for your message. Saka is here. He has heard that. Justice, I'll stop listening to your program if you continue fielding Saka. He insults my intelligence. Good morning, please. Let the MPP man know that we, the Ghanaian, now know who is the corrupt government. From the first president, debt was 120 billion Ghana cedis up to Mahama, and yours only in 4 years 142 billion Ghana cedis.
That one we can talk about it in terms of percentage.
Good morning. This MPP communicator is not good at all. All right, thank you so much for your message. This one says, good morning to you, Justice, and to your able NDC communicator. I want the MPP man to tell us, where did the president nor vice president talked about corruption since they started their reign? Unlike 2016, where every platform was used for corruption. Al Hassan from Savilugu constituency. My regards to the incoming MP of the constituency. Thank you so much for your message. Kosami from Nima says the security of the country have been compromised and cannot be trusted. So we will protect our votes by ourselves for anybody not to be able to steal our votes come December 7, 2020. #rescue mission. Good morning, Justice. Do you know that Saka is confused? He can't defend the MPP and convince any of us as to vote for them. He should tell President Akufo-Addo to start writing his handing over notes. KK from who sent in that one. Let me take this final one and then wrap up. President Akufo-Addo is swimming in corruption and still sleeping in his chair at Hawkwell last Saturday. What a disgraceful president and a disaster to this nation. Nana, never again. Stephen in Insuta Boem sent in that one. Good morning, Justice. Saka is not really doing any good to his party. This one says voting for the ruling New Patriotic Party government is to endorse the implementation of the PDS and the Japan deal, both characterized with deep corruption. Vote the MPP government out of office to protect all Ghanaians. Eddie sent in that one. Eddie sent in that one. Good morning, Justice. Is Saka really a lawyer? Saka is not a lawyer. He's so petty And how can a whole grown adult think that a whole then sitting president would go and take a Ford Expedition of a car as a bribe? Do you mean to tell us that the Ford is a better vehicle than V8 JM and his convoy use? So uncalled for. Even my class 6 kids would argue better. All right, I cannot read your messages anymore, though I have a lot of over here. My time is up. So thank you so much, Saka. Thank you, Gabi. Thank you, Soprano, for coming. I'm so grateful. Let me say a very good morning to the incoming member of parliament for Nalerigu Gambaga constituency, Alhaji Baba Seidu. Alhaji Baba Seidu. God is with you. The people of Nalerigu Gambaga would reward you on December 7th. They are going to reward you on December 7th for your good works. But I'll advise the people of Nalerigu Gambaga, don't think that somebody will come for your votes and then go for 4 years. They come back in an election year, erect street lights and think that they have done something for you. They've not done anything for you. Vote Alhaji Baba Seidu. Vote Alhaji Baba Seidu for your problems to be solved over there. Alhaji Baba Seidu, the incoming member of parliament for Nalerigu Gambaga constituency. This is what time will last. Sorry, on a ticket of the National Democratic Congress.
Number 2.
Is he number 2?
Well,
I don't know about Alhaji Baba.
All NDC is number 2.
Anyway, all NDCs are number 2. Anyway, I didn't know. All right, so this is what time will last on the program. Make a time with us, same time tomorrow. My name is Justice Appiah and Kwame Usudan. So wherever you are, our condolences to you and the whole family on the loss of your grandmother. Well, this is what time will last once again. But vote Alhaji Baba Seidu, Nalerigu Gambaga constituency. Good.
Welcome to Ridge Royal Hotel. In the recent light of pandemic, we are taking utmost care to ensure